Hello and shalom. We are very happy to be here with you with another conversation today about the relation between Abraham to Isaac. And I hope that you could join us as soon as possible in writing or via your voice. I shall be happy to hear you. Yes, I understand that people are waiting to have a quorum, like to have a community, but it is true. I just received a message that people sometimes they on the move and not everyone can appear, so they might be listening to the recorded conversation. So if you're here, you can join us by voice. It would be helpful to converse. Otherwise, I have to make a live podcast. This is also an option, of course, but you can join. Those who are already on Discord and they wait for others to come, I've received former messages. People are on the way. They'll try to log in by the phone, but it's not certain. So if you wish, you could join us in class with your voice. This is a free choice. It's not a must. And until you'll join us on YouTube or here on Discord, I would like to move to the whiteboard and see what is happening on the whiteboard. Here we have first participant on YouTube. We're very happy to see you. Ruth, good morning. How are you? Can you hear us, Ruth?
Hello, Etty. It's nice to hear you.
How do you do this morning?
Very good, thank you. I'm very well. Better, thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you very much.
How is the weather today? Is it better? Is it warmer than it used to be?
Well, it's still dark outside, but our temperatures have come up a little bit. It was freezing for a few days, but I think it's just a little warmer today. No frost.
Good. Good to hear. Good to hear. Yes, good to hear your voice. And here Venus is writing, good morning, Venus. We're very happy that you're here. And Ruth, do you have an access to the whiteboard? Can you see the verse that we posted and the painting? Do you see that?
Yes, I see it. The verse is very small. It's a small print.
Can I just enlarge the letters?
That's
Can
good.
you see?
That's good.
Yes?
That's good. Yes.
So
yes, that's very good.
Can you read for us, please, the two verses?
Yes.
Thank you.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean, of Padam Aram, the sister of Laban, the Aramean, to be his wife.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Usually when we read verse 19, what do we think? What do we think of Isaac and Abraham? What do we think when we hear those names and we read, so to speak, the Bible? What comes to our mind? What does this verse, what kind of communication this verse communicates? Usually, let's say if a person, random person, we would interview a person, walk somewhere in New York, open the Bible, what would he say?
He'd say this is the beginning of a family tree.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is true. Now, let's see what the Zohar say about this verse. I here move to the right side. Yes, here. This is the text in Hebrew, translated from Aramaic, which is written in Hebrew. And I read here the Hebrew 3 words, Ve'ele toldot Yitzchak, and those are the generations of Isaac, son of Abraham. And so says the Zohar, those are the generations of happiness and laughter that will be in the world in this time. the son of Abraham. This is the soul who has the righteousness to be happy and to be complete in her virtue. Abraham begot Isaac, meaning Abraham, which is the soul, begot the happiness and the laughter in this world. So, how does the Zohar read this verse? Who is Abraham, or what is Abraham according to this reading, and what is Isaac, and who begot who? Good morning, Felipe. We're very happy that you're here. Can you speak, please? Felipe? Probably can't.
Well, you said the soul begot happiness.
Yes.
So would Abraham would be the soul,
Yes.
and would that be the soul, the nefesh, or would it be a higher level of the soul?
Yes, it's good that you ask about the nefesh and higher level. I will open here a writing. Yes. Good morning. Do we hear a voice here? Good morning, Rodrigo. We're very happy to we're very happy to hear your voice. How do you do?
Oh, I'm fine, Nancy. Thank you very much. Shalom, Philippe, and shalom, Ruth. And I'm very excited to be here and talk with you, actually. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Ruth just read 2 verses from Genesis chapter 25. And I asked Ruth if we just ask a casual person in New York, interview him, open the Bible, and ask him about this verse. And those are the generations of Isaac. What would he say? And Ruth say, he probably would say this is a beginning of a family tree. And then we read the Zohar here, and I would like to repeat because I would like to connect. Here, this is the text, Ve'ele toldot Yitzchak, and those are the generations of Isaac, son of Abraham. Those are the generations of happiness and laughter that we will be in the world in this time. The son of Abraham, this is the soul who has the righteousness for that, and to be complete in her virtue. Abraham begot Isaac, the soul begot the happiness and the laughter in this life. Meaning, and this is what Ruth says, I asked her, and Abraham here is considered to be, usually we think of Abraham as a person who lives 5,000 years before our time, and here the Zohar reads Abraham as the soul. Isaac, laughter. Please correct my English if I don't write properly. If I have typos, please correct my English. So Abraham, according to the Zohar, is the name of the soul, because we can split the name Abraham into 2 parts. Here, this is Abraham, but we can divide or split the name into 2 parts. Ahav, loved, Ram. Ram is the higher. He loves the higher. And the higher is always the soul, or the infinite. So the name Abraham opens into 2 parts. The love of the higher. This is why the sages say here the name Abraham relates to the soul. And Isaac to the laughter. And when the verse says Abraham begot Isaac, it means that the soul delivers laughter. The generations of Isaac, what are the generations of Isaac? Where does the laughter comes from? From the soul. Do we understand this kind of reading?
Yes, that I believe I can understand. Thank you.
Now, Ruth asked what is the difference or the distance between nefesh and soul, neshama. So we have like here, let's call it, let's make another drawing. Here. I use the Hebrew letters because this is how the Zohar reads. We have the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton. In this case, the nefesh is here. This is nefesh. This is the lower part in humans, and this is similar to animals. This is the animated part, which is just moves. We also are able to move like animals, but this is a very low level of vitality, like the blood cells which are moving inside. Also, animals have blood, and the blood is moving and gives them vitality. So nefesh is a very low level of existence. Usually the nefesh is related to the liver, to the organ inside of us, which is named the liver, where the blood cells are filtered. So, and higher level, the nefesh is, wow, 1 second, I don't see YouTube, 1 second. I just have to see the screen with YouTube. Higher level here, the vav, is the spirit, ruach in Hebrew. This spirit associated with the heart sits in our heart. And the heart in the human body is higher than the liver. It is a different place. The heart sits in the chest. And a higher level from the spirit, this is the soul. And the soul is hovering above our head. So again, using the human body as different levels of communications, above the head, like the crown, so to speak, is higher than the heart, and the heart is higher than the liver. So the soul is higher than the spirit in the heart, and the spirit in the heart is higher than the lower part of the soul, which is connected or communicate through the nefesh level. Do we understand? Those are 3 forms of communication. The highest so far is the soul. It's the thinnest and the highest. Also associated in this case with Binah. A lower level is in the heart. It has to do also with the sentiment. And the lowest level of vitality is through the liver, through the pulse, I would say. Or let's say if we are afraid, let's say suddenly there's a sound of something, which is unexpected sounds of a sonic boom. So if we are not accustomed to hear a sonic boom, so the pulse in us being changed because we heard something which is sudden and we did not expect it. Also, the animal would respond to such a sudden sound. So it's the most lowest level of vitality, nefesh. Is that understood?
Yes, I believe I can understand this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ruth, did you understand what is the difference between nefesh and soul, neshama? Did you understand?
Yes.
Those are 2?
Yes. Yes, I understand.
Also, nefesh has the same structure in terms of numbering with the serpent. if we open the structure of the Hebrew letters, Nun is 50, we take it as 5. Pei is 80, we take it as 8. And Shin is 300, we take it as 385 or 358. And this is the structure of the serpent, Nachash. So this is a very, very low level of existence. This is the difference. There is organization named in America Nefesh Benefesh. Okay, they help people to move and to come, so to speak, to the promised land. But it is the word Nefesh is a very, very low level of existence. Any questions, other questions or things that come to your heart, to your mind that you would like to ask?
Eti,
Yes.
Shalom, good evening. I was thinking, I lost some part of the speech. I am in the street, but I wanted to ask about the relation between those three levels and the generations of the laughter.
Yes.
Sorry about the noise.
We can hear you.
Yes, the Itzahak, the laughter, and those three levels. What is the relation?
What is the relation of the three levels?
And I wanted to understand why we are talking about the three levels, those three levels, and before we were discussing Itzahak and the generations of the happiness.
Okay, I will explain. First, Ruth was reading verse 19. Those are the generations of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham begot Isaac. And then we ask, what does it mean if we ask a person randomly somewhere? And Ruth says probably he will say this is the beginning of a family tree. And I said yes. And then we looked into the Zohar. How does the Zohar reads the verse? And the Zohar reads the verse in a very, I would say, radical or very abstract reading to the common reading of people. Because the Zohar says, in this case, Abraham is not a person who lived 5,000 years before our time. The Zohar opens the name Abraham and says, the name Abraham, the meaning of Abraham is Ahav Ram, loves the higher. Higher is the soul. So Abraham, in our language, is a nickname or a code name for the soul. The soul is walking here under the name Abraham, which means in Hebrew, Ahav Ram. So, when the Bible writes, those are the generations of Isaac, son of Abraham, it's not a, I would say, biological son of a biological father, but Toldot Yitzchak is because Yitzchak comes from tzachak, laugh. He laughed or laughter. So the Zohar says those are the generation of Isaac, as those are the generations of laughter. The laughter is the son of the soul. Like Isaac is the son of Abraham, we don't speak about biological people or family tree of certain family, but we look at the generations of qualities. In this case, Yitzchak, Isaac, is laughter. Laughter is a quality. And the quality of laughter and happiness can be generated only by the soul. Do we understand that? We don't speak about biological people, but about qualities.
and this quality of laughter would be related with the neshama.
We can laugh. Let's yes, of course, yes.
Or even with ruach.
Yes, excellent. We can laugh only when we have a distance from things. Usually a person experience, let's say the very random thing. People sleep on banana shell. It happens. Somebody ate a banana. Yes? He did not put the shell of the banana in the bin or in a trash can. He just throw it on the pavement carelessly, ignorantly. Another person comes, walk innocently on the same sidewalk, and suddenly he finds himself asleep on this banana shell that the other one did not put in the trash can. So some people, it doesn't happen to them. They will see a person walk, suddenly he's on the ground sleeping. Some will have the comment of laughter. Why? It doesn't happen to them. It suddenly finds them in a surprise. So they will. This is what candid camera does, by the way. Candid camera makes all those situations that people could laugh. Yes, but if a person has a little bit of compassion for the person who slept on the banana, or mercy, he will feel sorry for him that he was surprised and fell. Probably he will approach and help him to rise up. Do you understand? We can only laugh if we have a distance from things. This is just a little case. But look at us as people. Sometimes we're in the moment, we can experience a lot of sadness, or we don't understand, or sometimes suffering. But in a distance of time, we look back where we were, a few months ago, a few, years ago, and we laughed. We have a laughter as a comment because we don't have this long range thinking. The soul has this. This is why the laughter is, so to speak, is generated or as a son of the soul, or comes from the soul. Do we understand it? Or it is hard to understand?
Yes, thank you. It's a beautiful comparison. Yes.
So again, the Zohar reads the Bible as a book which speaks about qualitative thinking, not as historical book or just a book that names the generations of families or families tree. He reads the Bible as a qualitative thinking, or the book of virtue. Yes. Questions so far? Impressions?
Eti,
Yes.
regarding your explanation, I believe that I can understand what you said about the soul and the fact that Isaac represents the left, the joy. I believe that this quality, but I don't know if it makes sense. But my perspective is from the tree of life. Isaac is related with the left side that we could related with. How can I say, the justice or something like that. Well, the books in Portuguese that I read regarding this scheme of tree of life, normally the left side is more severe, more. I don't know if I can translate in words, but it's hard to me understand the left, this joy, what Isaac represents, because your name means this joy. But in the same way, Isaac is related with the left side of the tree of life. And so, if you could clarify this to me, I appreciate. Thank you very much.
Yes, I understand. Yes, thank you for your question. Isaac is associated with the left side of the tree. Now I'll write it in this way. Here Isaac is associated. Here is Abraham. There is no contradiction, just a different looking at things. This is Abraham. This is Isaac. Yes?
The left side is related with restriction or something like that.
Yes. This is why his father brought him to the mountain to bind you. You're right.
Yeah.
This is why.
Yes.
Yes. Now let's look into the value of the names and see how does it resonate with the Bible. Abraham with Hay is 248. Isaac is 208. This is we remember. Is that right?
Yes, it's right.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have 248 minus Isaac, the father, so to speak, or the quality. Please remember, it's about qualities. Please, let's try to think about them as qualities, not as a biological creature. So the quality of 248, which is also the value of Rechem. Rechem is a womb, but also in Aramaic, Racham meaning loved. So basically, womb is love. So the quality of love, and here we come, love or soul. This is how they take it in the Zohar. So we take the quality of love, 248, and from this we subtract the value of Isaac, the laughter, 208. What we have?
40.
40. What is 40? What is 40? Which letters of the Hebrew letters has a value of 40?
Mem.
Mem. Very good. Mem. 1 second. I don't see YouTube. 1 second. I have to see. Yes, Mem has Mem. Yes, has the value of 40. Now let's return to the text. What can you please read for us verse 20?
And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel the Aramean of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban the Aramean, to be his wife.
Thank you. Now, how do you read this verse? After we have shown the relations between love and laughter, or soul and laughter, that the distance between them is 40. How do you read this verse? Is it random? Who has an idea how to read this verse? Not as historical one. Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah. How do we read this verse? We don't have to answer now. It's a question for homework. Yes? In a way, laughter, the quality of laughter and joy and happiness is beyond time and space. Yes.
No, just trying to answer your question.
Yes.
Because if we add the age of Isaac in the verse 20, the 40 years old, we get the soul, we get Abram. So if we add to the name Isaac,
Yes.
his age, he
Yes.
was 40. So we get, I don't know, we can say that he reached the soul or something like that. I don't know.
Yes.
If
Yes. Yes. True. True.
And it's interesting because the 40 could represent the transformation, the 40 years in the desert,
True.
this time, and also the time. So maybe when Isaac, when he was 40, he crossed this desert. He crossed
Excellent.
this distance. Yes,
Excellent. Excellent. Very good. When he was 40, he crossed the desert. When he was 37, when Isaac was 37, his mother, Sarah, passed away when he was 37, and it took him 3 years to overcome her loss. And when he was 40, he crossed the desert, as you said, and he married Rebecca. Very good. Very good, Rodrigo. Very good. It is interesting because the portion Chaye Sarah, the life of Sarah, comes after Abraham takes Isaac to the mountain to bring him as a sacrifice, and the sages are saying that Sarah died as a consequence of hearing that Abraham took their only son and sacrificed him on the mountain. This was her comment. So it would be like a dramatical, if we read it like regular people, we would think, what a dramatic move. Suddenly the mother died because her son was bound on the mountain. But if we read it as a qualitative reading, it is completely simple and not dramatic. Because if Sarah, with Hey, with the letter Hey, not Sarai, Sarah, represents time, Sarah, this is why she begot the letter Hey, to appear in time as Sarai, which is the letters of shir, song or poem. She believes beyond time and space. She lives beyond time and space as Sarai. But in order to grant her a son, she had to live in a lower level of existence. And this is why her name was changed from Sarai with Yod to Sarah with Hey, to live in time and space, because she was above time and space. As Sarai, she was above time and space, and she got a letter Hey to live in time and space. Because the Hey, once we have shown it in our podcast, is like a womb, like a vessel. So she got the letter Hey, that she could have a vessel to deliver a child in time. This is why her name changed from Sarai to Sarah. So now Sarah appears, so to speak, in time, and she gave birth to Isaac. Now, after Abraham took Isaac to the mountain, Sarah passed away. Usually people read this portion as dramatic move. The mother died because her son was taken. This is a dramatic read, but not a qualitative reading. Qualitative reading would say that since Sarah with Hey represents time, and laughter, Yitzhak, is a quality that happens outside of time. So Sarah is not in the picture. Do we understand this reading? Not this. Do we understand it?
Yes, that's
This is it. Yes, did you want to say something? I would like to show you here this painting. I think that you know the artist Rodrigo.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yes. He's a French artist. He wrote poems and also he painted like a series of painting. This painting is called On the Mountain. Could you describe us what do we see and why did I bring this painting? In what relation?
Well, we see two women, and they are on the mountain, and their hands hold each other. The hands are holding, and the eyes, they are looking each other, and one dressing a white dress, and the other, I believe it's brown maybe, or reds and orange, and they are walking on the mountain, and the eyes, it's very impressive, the eyes looking at each other, and I believe that there is a deep connection between them, because their hands are holding, and their eyes are looking at each other, and I believe there are how can I say, communication without words, just in the they can feel each other. I don't know what this is what I can say.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Felipe, Ruth, would you like to say something about the painting? Maybe Venus, would you like to write something about the painting?
I remember when we had another painting by this artist, and the image on the other painting was similar to the two women gliding through the air. And the first woman was, and I think it's the same in this picture, is helping to lead the other woman to a higher place.
Mm-hmm.
And the first woman looks as if she's almost saying with her eyes, "Come on, you can do this." And the second woman looks from the side view. She's relying on the help of the first woman. And is it sort of like leading the soul? Yeah. So this is where there's a help. And I think in the other picture, we kind of felt that the first woman was almost like the Holy Spirit leading to help the woman on her journey, that she was not alone, that the soul is not alone, that the soul has a companion who is there to help and encourage to go higher, and that this is not something that the soul can do on its own. It has to have the help of the Spirit of God.
Excellent. Are those, we usually tend to capture them as women, but could they be seen as qualities?
Well, yes, they can be qualities because we're not talking about the actual physical. The soul is not a physical being as such, like physical, like we are. It's within us, and so the soul relies and eats qualities. It has to form itself with qualities. So I would say the first one is a quality of encouragement. The first lady is encouraging, and I think within the soul we need encouragement. And the second one is a little bit of maybe fear there, maybe a little bit of fear.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Could we say, very good, you said the second one might be fearing. Could we say that those qualities are representing Abraham and Isaac going up to the mountain?
Yes, I think that's a good picture. I think that's a very good picture of them going up the mountain. Absolutely. Because Isaac questioned, like, well, where's the sacrifice?
Yes, yes.
You know, we've got the wood here, but where's the sacrifice? And Abraham was, as you have said, on that higher level of the soul, that he was able, even within himself, to smile and say, oh, don't worry about that. God will take care of it. So within ourselves, Abraham was within himself as the soul. He was able to laugh. He was able to smile. He was not concerned.
True. True, the soul in us can love. Yes. The body, which has, so to speak, attachment, might be afraid, might fear, but the soul does not. This is a quality of the soul. Thank you so much. Any question or impression that you would like to share with us? Rodrigo, Felipe, Venus?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yeah. I was thinking about what Ruth said, and it's important, I guess, important concept between those this relation of encouragement has to be it has to have a bound of trust. I guess trust is a key word, because I mean Isaac didn't want to run away, and he trusted his father, even though he was afraid. But there is this kind of I guess we could I mean Abraham had faith. He was related to the spirit, to the high, but to, in a way, to encourage and to the son to be granted with this feeling of love and care. the only resource he has is to trust his father, trust the one who has the connection, because he didn't have yet this connection. He has to trust the human. This is what came.
So you say he was lacking the 40. This is what you're saying.
I guess it could be this. I don't know. I was thinking about Isaac and going, going up to the mountain, and didn't know he is going to be bounded, and so he was afraid in a way, because I guess we always are in a way some kind of afraid of life, afraid of the unknown. And I don't know, I was thinking that when we have this pattern, this father figure, we trust, we are like we are child yet, yet we are children. We didn't lost our parents, and we have them to guide, and to, it's a figure of trust for us. But I don't know, it's just sorry, it's just random words and thoughts that I'm having looking at this picture, and really trying to relate what Ruth said. But I guess the key word is trust. Trust against faith. Faith is above, and trust is more nefesh level, I guess.
Interesting.
I was thinking about what you're saying, Felipe, and thinking about how many times there are many times in the Bible. I think one of the most one of the phrases that's repeated most often is "Do not be afraid," which goes along with this idea of trusting. That to trust is the other side of not being afraid, or the admonition not to do not be afraid is in order to not to be afraid, you have to trust.
So, thank you, Shelton. So, if to summarize what Felipe and Shelton were saying, the trust, so the fear has to do more with the nefesh, with the animated, with the animal part in us. Yes? This is where the fear is?
Yes, I believe, yes. The liver.
Yes. Felipe, this is a question, but to everyone. Can we see in the soul a parent? Because usually what happens is that people, like you say, relate to their parents, biological parents, as like leaders or guides or so. But can we see inside of us the soul as a parent? Could you? Yes.
Yes. No, sorry, please.
Yeah. Is it possible to see that the soul, in a way, is parenting us? Is it possible for us to see that the soul is parenting us?
It's incredible, because while you were saying this, I was thinking the story of Abraham, because he had this he had to abandon his fathers, his parents, his land, and lech lecha, for go forth your heart, your inner motivation. And he embraced this high father, that he became this father of himself. And in this moment, he's like when he's taking Isaac to the mountain. In a way, he's teaching Isaac to trust himself, because in that moment he could not be a guarantee that Abraham in that moment, I won't be able to express what I am thinking of, but Abraham was the father, but he, at the same moment, he was like a threat to Isaac, to nefesh level. He could, make him for a sacrifice or something. And in that moment, he was teaching this lech lecha, this trust yourself, trust in your inner father, and let's go to the unknown. Just to share this impression.
I wanted to add to what you said, Felipe. The couple of thoughts. One is that when God breathed the breath of life into man, into woman, the human being became a living soul. And so the soul is animated by the parent, by God the Father. The soul is animated by the supreme, the supernal one. And then there's a scripture that says, and if the soul is animated by the Spirit of God, then the Spirit of God, if you will, is an extension of the parent living inside of us. The soul force, the soul within, is an extension of God's parental presence. And so, and then there's a scripture that says, perfect love casts out fear, because fear has to do with torment. So the fear of the parent, and the trust of the child in the parent is the perfect love that when there is no separation between the two, then fear has no place. So fear is cast out.
This is interesting when you say fear is cast out, because it is proven by the name Pachad Yitzchak. Later on, when we find Jacob swears in the fear of Isaac, his father, Pachad Yitzchak. Later on, 1 second, I'll write the letters. 1 second. Pachad Yitzchak, the fear of Isaac. The fear of Isaac, 1 second. The fear, or Isaac's fear, let's Isaac's fear. The value of the fear of Isaac is 300. This is interesting. Because when there's a trust, like you say, the fear is cast. Because the fear of Isaac is 300. 300 we can read as Ruach Elohim, the Spirit of God. Also, Ruach Elohim, the Spirit of God, is also 300. But we can read the 300 as 3, and 3 is the value of the Spirit, like in the triangle. So, in a way, when there is a trust, is no fear. Yes, Rodrigo, Felipe, Ruth, would you like to say something, Felipe and Shelton?
I was thinking as you were speaking, Etty, of the moment in which um, Jacob and Esau encountered one another, and that Jacob had the fear, Israel had the fear, but when he saw Esau, Esau had the love, and when he embraced him, the fear was turned into a trusting love and a moment of true um, unity.
True. Have you ever thought that how do you say the parental? We say parent. How do you say parental love? Is it right to say in
Parental,
English?
yeah, parental.
Parental, parental love is something which is abstract, because usually what happens is that children or toddlers or feels parental love through their biological parents, as long as the parents live or as long as they have relations or so. But the question is, can we feel a parental love which is abstract? Are we able to feel a parental love not through our parents? Not through our delivering parents? Is it possible for us to feel a parental love?
I think it's possible to feel the parental love because the source of the parent is the the Ein Sof, the invisible one, the eternal one is the source of the parent. So I think that that the the abstract feeling of love that we can feel doesn't have to be from a parent. It could be from the source that the parent got the love from in the first place, the original source.
True. But this is interesting because yes?
I was just going to say, um, I think the abstract love is something that we know rather than we get in our senses,
Mm-hmm.
because we believe, which is different from feeling. We know it's there. I just think that if we're looking at it being abstract, then there's always times when parental love, we feel it, but then I believe there's a higher level that we actually know it, even if we don't feel it.
Yes, that's
Yes,
correct.
I agree with you, Ruth. It's kind of like as you were speaking, it's kind of like that feeling is both transcendent and immanent. It's both abstract and real at the same time. And I was thinking as you were speaking, Ruth, about Job when he said, "I know my Redeemer liveth." That was transcendent, but it was also very immanent.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Because it is interesting because part of the divine soul is in us, hovering above us, and part of is abstract, and there is a communication between them. Of course, of course, of course. A person can walk in the boulevard and he can feel this love from the nature, from the skies, from the just sitting in nature or walking in nature. This love is resonating, is what holding all of us together here. So in the beginning, a child can feel the love from his parents, but later in our process of growing, we can feel this unconditional love or life when we walk in the world. And this is a great thing. And this is the lesson from this binding of Isaac. So there's a higher father than Abraham, because, so to speak, Isaac is trusting his, so to speak, biological father, Abraham, but he brings him to the mountain in his thought so that to sacrifice him. But there's a higher thought than Abraham, which is saying, I don't mean that Isaac will be sacrificed, will be offering as a sacrifice. So do you understand this?
Yes, I think it's wonderful what you're saying, Etty. It reminds me that of the scripture, obedience is better than sacrifice, because Abraham was obedient in the sacrifice, and because of his obedience, he got in touch with something that was greater than the sacrifice, which was
Yes.
the communion with God. He
Yes,
literally
yes.
transcended the sacrifice, and when he transcended the sacrifice, he got a gift. And behold, there was a ram in the bush. Yeah.
Yes, this is it. Whenever we continue in our journey, and this is a beautiful painting of rising up in the mountain, not a physical mountain, but mountain in Hebrew is Har. Har is also related or associated with a thought. A thought is like a mountain, something which is very solid. But Har is also 205, and also without a zero, it's 25, its root is 5. So, the structure of the temple. I'm going from one lore to another, but the more we rise in the mountain of the thought of the divine thought, the more we can have a connection to the higher and the thinner. And this is the infinite walking, because in a way Abraham is an infinite walker. He always go to the next stage of belief, to the next stage in the thought, in his inquiry. He always go forth. And it's not for nothing that we, in our times, we say the Temple Mount, because the Temple Mount is not a geographical realm in Jerusalem. The Temple Mount is a place in the thought. Mount Har is a thought, machshava. Yes, Hirhur also, a thought comes from mountain. Hirhur, pondering. Hirhur is a thought or pondering. Oh, sorry, I have to move the board. Hirhur, the pondering. We have twice mountain, Har and Har, Hirhur. So if we take the word Har, mountain, which is 205, we take the 0, 25, its root is 5, and the square of the temple, as we said, the square of the temple was 500 on 500, where the Holy Land was a square of 400 on 400. Of course, if you cancel the 0, it's just 5 on 5 or 4 on 4. But the question is, how can the temple be bigger than the Holy Land? Because the temple holds the potential. In this case, Har HaBayit, or the Temple Mount, the square of the temple is 5, and the temple And the temple is in the mountain. The temple is in the origin of the divine thought. So the Temple Mount is not a geographical term. The Temple Mount is an expression of the divine soul. And in a way, Abraham takes Isaac to the Temple Mount, to the temple in the mountain in the divine thought. And later on in history, we shall find that the temple is built on the place that Abraham was willingly going to sacrifice his son. But God did not want this. And this is the place of the temple. I don't need your sacrifice. Just come closer to me. I don't need any sacrifice. So the Temple Mount is not a geographical reference. The Temple Mount is a reference in the divine thought. Come closer to me. Nothing is lacking in the temple because the basis of the temple is the full hand perspective. Not 500 just by 500, but 5. Because 5 holds the 4, so to speak, the manifestation plus the source, the one, the secret. So, this is the meaning of the Temple Mount. And in a way, Abraham takes Isaac to the Temple Mount, to the place that I will show you. He doesn't say even where.
I was thinking as you spoke, Etty, that Moses said to the children of Israel, Bnei Israel, my father was a wandering Aramean, in reference to Abraham, and that Abraham was constantly on the move, and he was constantly on the move, and he was open to change. And because he was constantly on the move and open to change, God showed him or gave him an experience of a journey that was continuous. And so this is perhaps the meaning of your seed shall be as many as the stars in the sky, that this journey is not, it doesn't end. This is that there is no conclusion, just a constant unfolding of revelation and of knowledge and understanding and wisdom.
This is it. This is it. In a way, even the mountain is built in a diagonal way. And I would just like to summarize our conversation, because there's a new month today, the month of Kislev, and I was looking for many references to the name, and something came by today, because Kislev, we write like this, Kislev. The interesting thing is that this is how I found it today by chance, writing it differently. First Samech, then Lamed, then take the Kaf like this. Please pay attention, and close with the Vav, the Kaf. Then we have Sulam, the ladder. The ladder that Jacob was dreaming of. And the interesting thing that we have the symbol of the months. Did you see the symbol of the months? 1 second, I'll try to bring it. I'm not sure that I can find it. I brought it today. I'll try to kashat. I hope that I can bring it forth. I'm not sure that it will work. No, it's not really here. I have to open it. But the symbol of the months at the moment, 1 second, here it is a man is riding a horse. Do you remember this? A man is riding a horse and has an arch, so we can decide on this ladder we can transcend and be human, or we can be animal. This is very interesting because we see here on the mountain, please pay attention to the diagonal. We have the diagonal here is the 5. Second, I don't have the second. Here, there is a diagonal, so to speak, yes. And this is the 5. So Isaac thinks that he is going to be sacrificed like an animal, but this is not what God wants. God does not need any sacrifice. Who created this world, the universes, the galaxies, trees, ocean needs a human sacrifice? It's just ridiculous. Who can think about something like this? This is interesting. But it is mostly interesting that the symbol of this month is that we can be considered as animal if we think like animal, like with 4 legs on the ground, or we can ascend and be human. This is it. There's a lot to say about the months of Kislev, but since you brought it, Shelton, I just was reminded of this. There's a lot to say about all of this. And I would like to thank you for participating in this most beautiful conversation. I'm aware of the fact that it's not easy, but all of us are doing this together. And I would like to thank you and wish everyone a very beautiful month of Kislev. And during this Kislev, 3 weeks from today, we shall have Hanukkah, and later we shall have Christmas. So it's a very, very important month to all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Eddie.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Shalom, shalom, shalom
Thank
to
you. Shalom,
everybody.
shalom, and Chodesh Tov. Shalom, shalom. Good month.
Shalom.
Thank you, Venus.
Thank you. Thank you, friends.